Title: My sister booked her engagement on my wedding day. So I stopped funding the family lie script. My father's first text arrived while I was signing my marriage license. Not during the ceremony. Not while I walked down the aisle. Not even during the photos where I had to keep smiling beside rows of empty chairs that should have been filled by my family. It arrived after everything was already done. After my husband, Noah, had kissed me in front of the people who actually showed up. After my new mother-in-law had cried into a lace handkerchief while telling me I looked like I belonged to Joy. After my best friend Maya had squeezed my hand so hard I knew she was trying to keep me from looking at the empty front row. I was standing in the small side room of the chapel, pen in hand, writing my new name on the license when my phone buzzed on the table. Dad, what did you freeze? 3 seconds later, another message, Dad. Your sister is crying in front of everyone. Then another, Dad. The club says the account is locked. Call me now. I stared at the screen while the wedding coordinator gently reminded me to sign on the second line. Outside, guests were laughing under white tents. Someone had started playing soft piano music for the cocktail hour. My husband stood beside me with his hand resting lightly on my back. Warm and steady, like he could feel my whole past trying to enter the room. I read my father's messages one more time, then I smiled, not because I was happy, because for the first time in my life, my family had reached for the invisible hand that always saved them and found nothing there. No secret payment, no emergency transfer, no daughter waiting quietly to repair the mess they made, just a locked account, a ruined engagement party, and the truth arriving at the worst possible moment. My father called. I let it ring, my sister called. I let it ring, my mother called. That one hurt. I still let it ring. Then my father sent one last message. Dad, why would you do this to us today? I picked up the phone and typed back 7 words that ended 31 years of begging to be chosen. You chose her wedding day. I chose mine. Then I signed the marriage license. My name is Amelia Whitlock. And this is the story of how my sister booked her engagement party on my wedding day. How my entire family skipped my ceremony to celebrate her. And how they discovered that the rich, perfect life they showed off to everyone had been secretly funded by the daughter they never bothered to love properly. Before I tell you how the country club locked my sister's ballroom during her champagne toast, comment below. What would you have done if your family skipped your wedding for your sister's engagement? Would you forgive them, or would you finally walk away? And if you enjoy stories where the quiet one finally stops carrying everyone, subscribe now, because this story is only getting started. I was the oldest daughter in a family that treated responsibility like a personality defect. My sister Bianca was born 3 years after me, and according to every adult in our family, she arrived with sunshine in her hands. That was the phrase my mother used. Bianca brings sunshine into a room. I brought permission slips, I brought grocery lists, I brought report cards with straight A's that somehow became normal by the time I was 12. Bianca brought glitter, tears, drama, and the kind of beauty that made strangers smile at her before she ever said a word. I do not say that bitterly. It is simply true. Bianca was beautiful in a way that made people rearrange their expectations around her. Blonde curls, soft voice, wide blue eyes, and the gift of making every mistake look like something the world had done to her. If she forgot homework, she was overwhelmed. If she broke something, she was emotional. If she spent too much, she deserved a little happiness. If I made one mistake, my father called it disappointing because he expected better from me. That was the difference between us. Bianca was allowed to need. I was expected to handle. My father, Victor Whitlock, owned a once-respected catering company called Whitlock House Events. Years before I was born, it had been one of the biggest wedding and event businesses in our part of Charleston. My grandfather started it with one delivery van and a borrowed kitchen. By the time my father inherited it, the company handled charity dinners, debutante parties, corporate banquets, and weddings for families who treated silverware like a bloodline. My father loved the image of the business, the white trucks with gold lettering, the framed newspaper clippings, the clients who called him Victor with expensive affection. What he did not love was accounting, or payroll, or taxes, or telling his younger daughter no. By the time I turned 16, I was already helping in the office after school. Not because anyone asked politely, but because invoices were going unpaid, and my mother kept whispering, "Your father is under so much pressure." That phrase became the soundtrack of my childhood. Your father is under pressure. Bianca is sensitive. Your mother is tired. The business is complicated. You understand, Amelia. I did understand. That was the problem. Understanding became a leash. When I was 17, I caught a mistake in the payroll spreadsheet that would have bounced checks for 14 employees. My father looked relieved for exactly 2 seconds before saying, "Good eye. Make sure you double check it next time before Friday." Next time. As if I had been responsible all along. Bianca, meanwhile, worked one summer at the front desk and quit after 3 weeks because a bride's mother said she sounded sleepy on the phone. My father bought her a charm bracelet to cheer her up. I processed vendor payments until midnight that same evening and got told to lock the office when I left. My mother saw it. I know she did. But my mother had spent so many years managing my father's moods that fairness felt like a luxury she could not afford. She loved me. I believe that. But she loved me like people love a sturdy table. Always grateful it holds weight, rarely asking if the legs are cracking. I left for college on scholarship and studied finance because numbers were honest in a way my family never was. Numbers did not smile and deny. They did not call favoritism keeping the peace. They did not say one daughter needed more support because she was fragile, while the other daughter could survive anything because she always had. After college, I built a career in restructuring small businesses, failing restaurants, family companies with bad books, medical offices drowning in unpaid claims, event businesses that looked glamorous from the outside and rotten inside the ledgers. I was good at finding the leak before the whole ship sank. Maybe because I had grown up inside one. By 28, I had opened my own consulting firm, Whitlock Advisory. I kept the last name because I had earned it, even if my family treated it like something Bianca wore better in photographs. At first, my father mocked the business. "So you tell people how to run companies now?" "No," I said. "I help them survive their own mistakes." He did not laugh. 6 months later, he called me at 11:40 at night. His voice sounded strange small. "Amelia, I need you to look at something." Something was a tax lien, then unpaid vendor balances, then a line of credit he had personally guaranteed, then a private loan he had taken to cover Bianca's failed boutique business. By the time I finished reviewing everything, Whitlock House Events was 90 days from collapse. I told my father the truth. "You have to downsize." He shook his head. "Impossible. You have to sell the banquet equipment you barely use." "No. You have to stop covering Bianca's expenses through the business." His face went cold. "That is your sister." "Yes, and she is bleeding you dry." He stood up from his desk. "You don't understand family." That sentence would have made me laugh if it had not hurt so much. I understood family better than anyone in that office. Family was the reason I spent the next 4 years secretly keeping my father's company alive. It started with one bridge loan from my personal savings, then another. Then I negotiated with the IRS. Then I restructured vendor debt. Then I quietly paid the mortgage arrears on my parents' house because my mother called crying and said she could not sleep. Then I covered Bianca's car payment because my father said repossession would humiliate her after her divorce. Then I paid for my nephew's school trip because Bianca had forgotten the deadline. Every payment came with a promise, just until next quarter, just until this event season improves, just until Bianca gets back on her feet, just until your father's stress settles, just until. Those 2 words can steal years from a dependable woman. Just until I created what I called the family stabilization account. That was the professional name. The honest name would have been Amelia Pays for Everyone, while they pretend she is cold. It was a separate account funded by my consulting income and investment returns. I used it to pay urgent bills, guarantee certain business obligations, cover shortfalls, and keep the family image intact. No one thanked me properly because no one wanted to look too closely. They preferred the myth. My father was a strong businessman. My mother was a graceful hostess. Bianca was a woman rebuilding after heartbreak. And I was the distant daughter who worked too much, smiled too little, and somehow always had money when the family needed saving. At family dinners, my father still praised Bianca for trying again. Every time she launched a new project with someone else's money, my mother still asked me not to sound harsh when I explained reality. Bianca still called me intimidating whenever I refused to join her fantasy, and I still paid because love makes fools of intelligent people. Then I met Noah. Noah Bennett was not flashy. He was a pediatric physical therapist with kind eyes, rolled up sleeves, and the calm patience of someone who spent his days teaching injured children how to trust their bodies again. We met because his clinic hired me to help fix its billing system after insurance delays nearly shut down one of their therapy programs. The first time I saw him, he was sitting on the floor beside a little boy with leg braces, clapping like the child had just won an Olympic medal because he had taken 4 steps without holding the rail. I remember thinking, that is what celebration should look like. Not expensive, not performative. Earned for weeks. We worked in the same building. He would bring me coffee during late nights and ask questions that had nothing to do with invoices. Do you ever stop solving problems? No. Do you want to? I did not know how to answer that. On our 3rd date, my father called twice during dinner. Then Bianca called. Then my mother texted saying the florist for Bianca's charity brunch was threatening to cancel because no deposit had been sent. I apologized and reached for my phone. Noah gently covered my hand with his. Are they in danger? I blinked. What? Is someone injured, sick? Unsafe? No. Then finish your dinner while it is still warm. That should not have felt revolutionary. But it did. I married him because he loved me without needing me to be useful first. When he proposed, he did it in our kitchen at 7:15 on a rainy Tuesday, while I was wearing old sweatpants and trying to fix a broken cabinet hinge. No photographer, no candles, no audience. Just Noah holding a ring and saying, I want to build a life where you are allowed to rest. I cried so hard he panicked. When I told my family we were engaged, Bianca screamed louder than my mother. For about 12 seconds, I thought she was happy for me. Then she said, Oh my gosh, we can plan together. I know exactly what kind of wedding would soften your look. My look, not my joy. My mother asked about the venue. My father asked how much it would cost. Bianca asked if she could wear champagne because white would be too obvious. Noah watched my face after the call ended. They are going to make this hard, aren't they? I leaned against the counter. They make everything hard. Then we keep it. So we did. Small chapel near the water. Garden reception. 80 guests. No luxury ballroom. No 10-tier cake. No dance floor monogram. No family spectacle. Just vows, dinner, music, and people who loved us. I sent invitations 5 months early. My father never responded. My mother sent a heart emoji. Bianca texted, cute, cute. The word felt like a slap wearing perfume. 2 months before the wedding, my family gathered for Sunday lunch at my parents' house. I almost skipped it, but my mother said Bianca had big news and asked me to be supportive. Supportive is another word families use when they want one person to disappear politely. Bianca arrived late wearing a pale pink dress and a diamond bracelet I knew she could not afford. Beside her was Callum Price, a real estate investor with perfect hair and the empty confidence of men who say assets more than people. My father loved him instantly. Callum shook his hand, talked about development opportunities, mentioned his family's beach property. By dessert, my father looked at him the way he used to look at rich clients in the old days, like proximity might become rescue. Bianca tapped her spoon against a champagne glass. I have an announcement. I knew before she lifted her hand the ring was enormous, too enormous. A diamond that looked less like love and more like a press release. My mother gasped. My father stood so fast, his chair scraped the floor. Bianca cried. Columns smiled like a man accepting applause for a purchase. Everyone hugged. Everyone cheered. And for a few minutes, I let them have it. Then Bianca wiped her eyes dramatically and said, "We already booked the engagement celebration." My stomach tightened. Something in her tone warned me before her words did. The only date available at Magnolia Crest Club was June 21st. The room blurred for half a second. June 21st, my wedding day. Noah, seated beside me, went very still. I looked at my sister. That is my wedding day. Bianca's smile flickered. I know. It's such a crazy coincidence. No, I said. It is not. My father frowned immediately. Amelia. There it was. My name is a warning. Bianca lifted both hands. I didn't do it to hurt you. Magnolia Crest books out forever. Callum's family knows the board, and they made space. We had to take it. You had to book your engagement party on my wedding day? It's in the evening, she said quickly. Your ceremony is earlier, right? My reception is in the evening, she sighed. That sigh told me everything. I was the inconvenience, not her. My father cleared his throat. Well, people can make their choices. I turned to him. Can they? He looked uncomfortable for 1 second, then defensive. Bianca's engagement is important. This could be a very good match for her. A match. Like we were still living in a century where daughters were investments to be placed correctly. Noah set down his glass. Victor, our wedding invitations went out months ago. My father barely looked at him. I understand that. No, Noah said calmly. I don't think you do. The room tightened. My mother whispered, let's not argue. I looked at her. Why not? She blinked. Amelia! No, Mom, why not? Bianca booked her engagement party on my wedding day, and somehow the problem is that I noticed. Bianca's eyes filled instantly. You always make me feel like a terrible person. I almost laughed. She had booked over my wedding, and within 30 seconds, she had become the victim. It was almost impressive. My father put his arm around her. That's enough. Your sister is happy. Don't ruin this. Do not ruin this. Not my wedding. Her engagement. That was the moment something inside me stopped reaching for them. It did not break loudly. No dramatic speech. No slammed door. Just a quiet click. A lock turning. I stood. No. We're leaving. My father's face reddened. Don't be childish. I looked at him one last time. I am getting married on June 21st. Whoever wants to be there can be there. Bianca wiped her eyes. And if people choose mine, I held her gaze, then I will finally believe them. The weeks after that were revealing in the ugliest way. The family group chat became a full-time planning board for Bianca's engagement. Photos of floral arches, champagne towers, columns, family crest printed on cocktail napkins, custom lighting, a string quartet, a dessert wall, a live painter, a drone photographer. Not once did anyone ask about my wedding. Not once. My mother sent me private messages with little apologies. Your sister is overwhelmed. Your father is trying to keep peace. Please don't take this personally. How else was I supposed to take it? Then the relatives started calling. Aunt Marjorie said, "Could you move your reception earlier?" Cousin Elise said, "Bianca's event is bigger, so maybe yours could be more intimate." Uncle Rob said, "Your dad says Magnolia Crest might bring in investors for the business." There it was, the truth under the lace. My sister's engagement party had become a business opportunity. My wedding was just a conflict on the calendar. 1 week before the wedding, my father called me, not to apologize, not to ask how I felt, to ask for money. Magnolia Crest needs another deposit, he said. I sat in my office staring at a spreadsheet of Whitlock House debt. For Bianca's engagement party, it's complicated. No, it's expensive, he sighed. Amelia, don't do this. Don't do what? Make everything about your feelings. I closed my laptop slowly. How much? He hesitated. $28,000. I laughed. I could not stop myself. You want me to pay $28,000 for the engagement party Bianca booked on my wedding day? It's not like that. It is exactly like that. He lowered his voice. Callum's family expects a certain standard. If this goes well, he may invest in the company. Whitlock House Events is alive because I keep paying the oxygen bill. Silence. He hated when I said things plainly. You don't have to be cruel. No, I have been funding the illusion that you are still in control. That is not the same as being cruel. He said, your sister needs this. There it was again. Bianca needs. Bianca feels. Bianca deserves. And what do I need? I asked. He did not answer. That silence became the final signature on a document I had been writing in my heart for years. I said, I'll handle the deposit. His relief came so quickly it disgusted me. Thank you. I knew I could count on you. Yes, I said quietly, you always could. But this time I did not pay the deposit, not the way he thought. I called Magnolia Crest directly. I asked for the full contract. I reviewed the payment structure. I discovered that my father had listed my stabilization account as the backup guarantee for the entire event package, including damages, vendor premiums, and cancellation penalties. He had signed my name electronically using an old authorization form from Whitlock House Events. That was not just entitlement, that was fraud. I sat in my office after the club emailed me the documents and felt my hands go cold. For years, I had made excuses. He is stressed. The business is failing. He does not understand boundaries. But signing my name to guarantee the party that replaced my wedding, that was different. That was not need. That was theft, dressed as family. So I called my attorney. Yes, I had one. Women who rescue failing companies eventually learn to protect themselves. Her name was Dana Cho, and she had been telling me for 2 years to cut my family off before they dragged me under. When I sent her the documents, she called within 10 minutes. Amelia, she said, tell me you did not authorize this. I did not. Good. Then we are going to make this very clear. 3 things happened after that. First, Dana sent a formal notice to Magnolia Crest, stating that my financial authorization had been used without current consent and would terminate at 8:30 p.m. on June 21st, unless I personally renewed it. Second, she sent similar notices to my father's bank, vendors, and business creditors tied to the family stabilization account. Third, she prepared a scheduled email containing years of records showing exactly how much I had contributed to my family's lifestyle, business survival, debts, and Bianca's repeated emergencies. I did not send it immediately. That matters. I gave my family one last chance. I called my father 3 days before the wedding. Are you coming? I asked. He sounded tired. Amelia, you know the timing is difficult. No, it is simple. My wedding is at 4. Bianca's party is at 7. You could attend the ceremony if you wanted. He said nothing. Dad? Bianca will be devastated if the family is split. I closed my eyes. So you are not coming. He exhaled sharply. Do not make me say it like that. You just did. My mother called that night crying. She said she loved me. She said she did not know how everything got so complicated. She said, my father thought it would look bad if people left Bianca's event to attend mine. I asked, do you think it looks bad for no one to attend my wedding? She cried harder, but she did not say she was coming. On the morning of June 21st, I woke before sunrise. For a moment, I lay still beside the window of the bridal suite, listening to gulls and distant traffic and the low breathing of Maya asleep on the sofa because she refused to let me wake up alone. My dress hung on the closet door, so long sleeves, pearl buttons, no drama. Just me. I checked my phone. Bianca had posted a story at 7:02 a.m. Today is the beginning of forever. A photo of her ring, a photo of Magnolia Crest, a photo of my father kissing her forehead. I stared at that last image longer than I should have. Then I turned my phone face down. May awoke and saw my face. Do you want me to destroy anyone before breakfast? I laughed for the first time that morning. No. After breakfast? Maybe. She sat up, hair wild, eyes serious. Amelia, listen to me. Today is your wedding. Not their rejection, not your sister's performance. Yours. I nodded. But when I walked into the chapel hours later and saw the empty front row on my side, the rejection became physical. Chairs have weight. My father's chair, my mother's, Bianca's, my aunt's, my cousin's. People I had supported, paid for, rescued, defended, remembered, forgiven. Gone. On Noah's side, every seat was full. His parents, his sisters, his co-workers. Children from his clinic who had insisted on coming dressed like tiny executives. His grandmother in a blue hat that could have blocked sunlight. Warmth everywhere. On my side, there was Maya, 3 friends. 2 former clients who had become family, and Mrs. Alvarez, my old high school math teacher, who had driven 4 hours because, as she said, I never miss the important exams. I almost broke when I saw her. Then the music started. The chapel doors opened, and Noah turned. His face did something no one in my family had ever done for me. It made room for all of me. The pain, the strength, the empty chairs. The woman walking alone. He cried before I took the first step. Not softly, openly, without embarrassment. And somehow that gave me permission to keep walking. When I reached him, he took both my hands and whispered, I see you. 3 words, that was all. I see you. My family had spent 31 years looking through me toward whoever needed more attention. Noah saw me in 1 second. The ceremony was beautiful because it was honest. No father walking me down the aisle, no fake family unity, no pretending. Just vows under warm light while rain tapped against stained glass, and the people who came held us in their attention like a blessing. Noah's vow nearly undid me. He said, I promise that in our home, love will never be payment for service. You will not have to earn rest. You will not have to be useful to be cherished. You will not be the emergency plan for anyone who refuses to love you gently. By the time he finished, half the room was crying, including me. During the reception, I kept waiting for grief to ruin everything. It did not. It visited, sat quietly, then let joy speak. We danced under string lights in the garden. We ate lemon cake. Noah's grandmother told everyone I was too pretty for him, then winked at me like we were co-conspirators. Maya gave a toast that began with, Amelia is the only woman I know who can restructure a company and threaten a printer into working in the same hour. People laughed. Then she looked at me and said, but what I love most about her is not how much she carries. It is that today she finally let us carry her. That one got me. At 8:20 p.m., the wedding coordinator told us we should sign the marriage license before the photographer left. Noah and I stepped into the chapel side room. I picked up the pen. My phone buzzed. The first text from my father. What did you freeze? I already told you what I wrote back. You chose her wedding day. I chose mine. But what I have not told you yet is what happened at Magnolia Crest. The truth came out in pieces over the next 24 hours. At 8:30 p.m., the unauthorized financial authorization expired exactly as Dana had arranged. At 8:31, the club's internal system flagged Bianca's event account as unsecured because my stabilization account was no longer backing the contract. At 8:34, the event manager privately approached my father and asked for immediate payment confirmations. At 8:38, my father tried the old business card, declined. At 8:41, he tried the emergency line of credit, frozen pending review. At 8:45, Dana's scheduled email released to every necessary recipient, my father, my mother, Bianca Column, Magnolia Crest Accounting, my father's business banks, his attorney, and, because I am thorough myself, subject line. Termination of unauthorized family financial support and disclosure of prior payments attached were records, not emotions. Records, mortgage rescues, tax lien payments, vendor settlements. Bianca's boutique debt, Bianca's car note, Bianca's divorce attorney retainer, my nephew's tuition, my father's payroll shortfalls, my mother's medical bills, the catering company's emergency deposits. The loan guarantee, Callum had been told, came from family assets. The unauthorized Magnolia Crest contract using my financial backup. every lie dressed neatly in PDF form. Bianca had apparently been minutes away from a champagne toast when the country club manager stopped the event from continuing until payment was secured. Imagine it. My sister in a pale gold dress, holding a crystal flute, surrounded by Callum's wealthy relatives, standing beneath floral chandeliers I was supposed to pay for. My father sweating through his suit, my mother crying in the ladies' room. Callum reading the email on his phone and discovering that the Whitlock family wealth he had been promised was actually me. Not family property, not hidden trusts, not my father's business strength, me. The daughter not important enough to attend Callum left before dessert. Bianca screamed so loudly in the ballroom that one of the bartenders apparently dropped a tray. My father called me 11 times. I cut my wedding cake. That sounds cold when I say it plainly. It was not cold. It was survival. For once, I refused to leave my own joy to rescue people from the consequences of humiliating me. Noah and I cut the cake while my phone vibrated in Maya's purse because she had taken it from me after the third call and said, "Absolutely not." When guests shouted for us to kiss, Noah leaned in and whispered, "Are you okay?" I said. "I think I am becoming okay." He kissed me then, softly, in front of the people who chose us. That night, after the reception ended and we reached our hotel, I listened to the voicemails. Not because I owed them, because I wanted to know whether anyone had found remorse yet or only panic. My father's first message was rage. "What have you done?" The second was confusion. "Call me. I don't understand these documents." The third was fear. "Amelia, please. The bank is asking questions." My mother's message was crying. Bianca's was screaming. Callum's was short and legal sounding, which told me he had already called his lawyer. Then came one more from my father at 2:13 a.m. His voice sounded older. I opened the email. Pause, a long one. I didn't know it was that much. That was the closest he had ever come to admitting he had not wanted to know. I deleted the message. Not because I hated him, because my wedding night was not going to become another family crisis meeting. The honeymoon was quiet. We went to a small island off the coast instead of an expensive resort. We slept late, ate grilled fish at beach restaurants, walked barefoot in the mornings. For the first time in years, my body started understanding that no emergency was coming for me to solve. Or if it was, I was allowed not to answer. On the third day, my mother called. I answered. She sounded fragile. "Your father is going through the records." "Good. He says he didn't understand how much pressure you were under." I watched waves fold over white sand. "Mom, he understood pressure when it belonged to him. He just didn't care when it belonged to me." She cried quietly. "I should have come to your wedding." "Yes," I said. No softening, no rescuing, just yes. I wanted to. Wanting quietly did not put you in the chair. That sentence hurt both of us. "But truth is not cruelty just because it stops protecting people from themselves," she whispered. "I'm sorry. I believe you. Can we fix this?" I closed my eyes. "No. But maybe we can stop making it worse." That became the beginning of a different kind of relationship. Not close, not warm yet. But honest. My father took longer. 3 months after the wedding, Whitlock House Events downsized from a full-service catering company to a small kitchen rental and consulting operation. The house my parents had used to impress clients went on the market. Bianca's engagement ended 2 weeks after Magnolia Crest. She told people Callum was shallow and obsessed with money. For once, she was not entirely wrong. But she left out the part where she had built the relationship on the implication that her family had money she did not have. My father had to meet with investigators about the unauthorized guarantee. Dana handled everything. I did not press charges, but I did require a signed admission, repayment plan, and legal separation of my finances from all Whitlock family and business obligations. No more emergency rescues. No more quiet transfers. No more just until. The first month after I stopped paying, my family called it betrayal. The second month, they called it punishment. By the third, After relatives started reading the documents and realizing the scale of what I had done, they called it complicated. People use complicated when simple truth makes them look bad. Then, one November evening, my father came to my house, no warning, no dramatic rainstorm, just headlights in the driveway and Noah calling from the front room. "Amelia, your dad is here." I almost told him to send my father away. Then I remembered Noah's vow. Love will never be payment for service. I did not have to serve my father, but I could choose whether to hear him. I opened the door. He looked smaller, not physically exactly, just stripped of the certainty that had made him seem larger all my life. His hair had gone grayer around the temples. His jacket was old. His hands were empty. No documents, no bills, no emergency. "Can I talk to you?" he asked. I stepped aside. We sat in the living room. Noah stayed in the kitchen, close enough for support, far enough to give privacy. For a long time, my father stared at the coffee table. Then he said, "I thought I was protecting the family." I waited. The old Amelia would have helped him explain. The new one did not. He swallowed. "I told myself you didn't mind, that you were successful, that helping was easy for you." "It was never easy. I know that now." "You know it because it stopped." He nodded. "Yes, that honesty surprised me." He looked up then, and his eyes were wet. "When you were little, you used to sit at the office desk with your feet swinging because they didn't touch the floor. You'd organize pens by color. I used to think you just liked being there." "I did." His mouth trembled. "I turned that into using you." I said nothing, he continued. "Bianca always demanded love loudly. You waited quietly." I confused silence with not needing anything. There it was, the center of it. The family lie underneath the money lie. I felt my throat tighten despite myself. "You skipped my wedding." His face crumpled. "I know. You let me walk alone." "I know. You went to the party I was paying for." He closed his eyes. "I know." No defense, no excuse, no mention of pressure. For the first time, my father let the facts stand without trying to move them. "I don't know how to forgive you," I said. He nodded. "I don't know how to ask." That was the first honest conversation we ever had. It did not heal everything. Nothing heals 31 years in one evening. But before he left, he stood at the door and said, "I am sorry I made you prove your worth by paying for our comfort." I had to look away, because that sentence named the wound. Finally, after he left, Noah wrapped his arms around me from behind. I cried then, not loud, not pretty, but fully. I cried for the empty chairs, for the little girl doing payroll, for the teenager praised only when useful, for the woman signing her marriage license while her father panicked over money instead of asking if she was happy. And then I slept for 10 hours. A year later, Noah and I hosted a small anniversary dinner in our garden. Maya came, Noah's family came, Mrs. Alvarez came with a lemon pie because she said store-bought dessert was a moral failure. My mother came too. She arrived early and helped set the table without making herself the victim. That was progress. My father came alone. Bianca did not. She and I were not speaking then. Maybe someday. Maybe not. Peace does not require every door to reopen. During dinner, my father raised a glass. He did not make a big speech. Thank God. He simply said, "To Amelia and Noah, thank you for letting me be here." Letting. That word mattered. Not expecting, not deserving. Letting later, while everyone talked under the lights, my father stood beside me near the garden gate. "I drove past Magnolia Crest last week," he said. I looked at him. "Why?" He shrugged. "Had a delivery nearby." "Neither of us believed that," he continued. "I sat in the parking lot for a minute and thought about that night." "So did I. I should have been at the chapel." "Yes." He nodded. "I know." Then he said very quietly, "Your wedding photos are on my desk now." I looked at him. "Not the family wall." His face flushed slightly. "On my desk, where I see them every day." That was better. The family wall was for display. The desk was for memory. I nodded. Good. Sometimes healing is not a hug. Sometimes it is a photograph moved to the right place. As for the money, I never restarted the family stabilization account. Never. My father learned to run a smaller business honestly. My mother learned to ask before assuming. Bianca learned, painfully and publicly, that beauty and helplessness are not retirement plans. And I learned the hardest lesson of all. You can love people and still stop funding the lie that allows them to hurt you. That is not revenge. That is boundaries with receipts. If you are listening to this because you are the dependable one, the strong one, the person everyone calls when the bill is due, the car breaks, the rent is short, the parent is sick, the sibling is crying, the family image is cracking, please hear me. Being capable does not mean being responsible for everyone's consequences. Being loyal does not mean financing your own humiliation. Being strong does not mean walking alone while everyone you carried applauds someone else. Sometimes the family lie survives only because one honest person keeps paying for it. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is stop. My sister booked her engagement on my wedding day. My family chose her. So I stopped funding the family lie. And when the payments stopped, the truth did not destroy us. It revealed us. My father was not powerful, Bianca was not helpless, my mother was not neutral, and I was not cold. I was tired, I was generous, I was unseen, but I was not disposable. My name is Amelia Whitlock Bennett. I walked down the aisle without my father. I signed my marriage license while his world collapsed. And for the first time in my life, I did not leave my own happiness to rescue people who had chosen not to show up for it. If this story touched you, comment, "I choose myself" below. Tell me honestly, would you have cut the payments too? Or would you have given them one more chance? And subscribe for more emotional stories where the quiet person finally stops carrying the whole family alone.